Hello again from the ETRA conference in Brussels. I'm here with Jean-Michel Douarre from the BlackCycle project.
Good afternoon, Martin.
So, Jean-Michel, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you came to the BlackCycle project.
Okay, so I'm an engineer in chemistry. I have a PhD, and I have been working for Michelin for 32 years, always in material and research and development, pre-development. And since November 2021, I am in charge of the BlackCycle Consortium, and also in Michelin, I am in charge of the program of research for sustainable raw materials.
That's quite impressive. That's quite a long time in the tire industry as well.
That's very exciting and very interesting, in fact, yeah.
Yes, yes. So the BlackCycle project is an EU-funded project with 13 members, right?
Exactly.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what is BlackCycle, what is special about BlackCycle. I think it was the first ever announced ecosystem.
Yes, you're right, Martin. In fact, BlackCycle objective is to create a massive circular economy of the tires, and meaning that we want to create new raw materials coming from the ELTs. What we call ELTs is end-of-life tires, and we want to transform ELTs in high-quality raw material to reintroduce them in new tires. And so this is a consortium, because to do that, you start from the feedstock, the ELTs, end-of-life tires, and you have to go through a series of transformation to make your high-quality raw materials. And for that reason, Michelin, we cannot do that alone because we don't have the competencies. And so we needed to have around us, with us, the different experts, industrial, academics, to help us to create this value chain.
But you are the leading company in the project. Maybe you can say a little bit about that, because in the end, I can imagine it's you taking the materials in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, what we think in Michelin, we believe that the mobility will be sustainable. And when we say that, and we have this ambition, that 100% of the raw material that we use in the tires will be sustainable. When we say sustainable, that means coming from feedstock that are from recycling or from biosourcing. And the difficulty that we have is that we have a huge quantity of raw material to transform. Roughly it's 3.4 million tons per year. So big volume and big diversity as well. So we have fillers, rubbers, textile, metal, and so we need to have external competencies to do that. And BlackCycle is one of the bricks that we use, and it's for carbon black and plasticizer. It's only one part of the ambition of Michelin on that part.
Well, you have a multitude of projects, right? You have what products do you have coming from the BlackCycle that could potentially go back into your tires?
Actually, what we aim to is to have sustainable carbon black with exactly the same characteristics of virgin carbon black from ASTM, so with the same performance for the tires at the end. And we also have sustainable plasticizers, so it's resins. Same goal, have to be able to replace fossil raw material with sustainable raw material with no negative impact on the tire performance, like the wear resistance, rolling resistance, and of course safety. Safety also is very important for us.
So at the moment, if I understand it correct, the recovered carbon black is not included.
Okay.
And the powder on French poudrette is not included either.
In fact, it's part of the global chain of the transformation of the end-of-life tires, because the technology, the core technology, is the pyrolysis of the tires. So that means that it's not oxidation, it's a high temperature treatment with no oxygen, and from that you get different type of components. You get gas that helps the pyrolysis, in fact, for the energy part. You get a recovered carbon black, and you get also oil pyrolysis oil. And the main goal of BlackCycle is to transform the pyrolysis oil into sustainable carbon black and sustainable plasticizer. But this is the global chain that we want to have. We need to use every kind of byproduct that we produce and to valorize them.
Yes. Also, I mean, there is an amount of recovered carbon black we have to sell in order to have the oil. And that might, if you want to sell sustainable carbon black or buy sustainable carbon black, the recovered carbon black will be somewhere in the equation.
You're absolutely right, and so this is also why in the BlackCycle project we study the effect of the feedstock, because when you get end-of-life tires, you can different type of tires.
Yes.
If you play on the parameters of pyrolysis as well, you get also different types of recovered carbon black or pyrolysis oil. So we study that to try also to have a good vision of what could be the best way to get a good recovered carbon black. But recovered carbon black versus sustainable carbon black is not the same.
Not yet, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Because recovered carbon black, basically, it's addition of different carbon black coming from the tires, plus a part of ash, and it's reinforcing. So we want that we can use that in the tire, but not in every part of the tire.
It's only semi-reinforcing, so
it's more for
up to a 600 maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you want to use fine carbon black for trade, for example, that is good for wear resistance, recovered carbon black is not a good match. However, sustainable carbon black that we do, because
can go there.
Yeah, because what we do is that we produce with the pyrolysis, we produce the oil, we distillate the oil to get the good part, and then we send that to our partner, that is Orion.
Engineered carbons.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the major carbon black producer in Europe. And so with this feedstock, this oil that is distillated, they replace their fossil feedstock with this oil, and they can make a carbon black that is identical to the one they make with the fossil feedstock.
Yes. Now the challenge, I can imagine, because your objective is very, very ambitious. I think, is it still 6 years after the project to have to recycle every second tire?
Well, that's the goal of the project.
That's a super big objective.
Yeah, because in fact what we saw is that roughly we say that 95% or 90% of the ELTs are collected in Europe. So that's a very good score. But 50% of that roughly is exported. And so we say that's a shame, because that's a huge feedstock for raw materials. So we think that this part is somewhat accessible. So the first thing will be to get it, and then what makes us quite optimistic is also the fact that there is a demand in terms of the secondary raw material, the sustainable carbon black, the sustainable plasticizer also. So it will pull that business.
Yes.
But now in 6 years from now, where is?
Excellent. I think it's starting to rain, but I'm sure there's some viewers of this video who would be interested to learn how they can engage without being in the BlackCycle project right now. Can they interact with BlackCycle and or with Michelin after the project to help build the capacity for the tire pyrolysis oil?
Now, that's a very good question. Actually, during the consortium or during the project, it is not possible to have other partners, because everything is defined at the beginning of the project. However, now we want to disseminate the technologies we are going to develop in the BlackCycle project. And here, every kind of partner is welcome to help us to disseminate after the project. And so the BlackCycle project has the objective not only to develop the technologies, but also to define the best economical models, to be sure that it's the value chain is viable economically speaking. And so we will give recommendation for the technical part, for the economic part, for the acceptance, social acceptance as well. And then we will accept all the partners that want to help us to disseminate that value chain.
Excellent.
And for the ones that are interested, we have a website for BlackCycle, so you can get all the news about what happens in that project. We have also a workshop. Last year it was in November, and this year it will be again in November, on the 22 of November and 23 of November. It will be in Spain. It will be remote and physical hybrid. It will be hybrid. So everybody is, of course, welcome to attend that workshop, because you will learn more about it.
I'm glad that it is after the Recovered Carbon Black conference, so it doesn't clash with that.
Which shows the date like that, yeah.
Which is on the 16th and 17th of November. Jean-Michel, anything else? I think now it will start to rain in a moment, so we probably want to get out of here.
Well,
anything else that is important, and a message you want to pass to our viewers?
Well, I think that working on sustainability is really a good opportunity to innovate, and also to innovate differently. The consortium work is really an example of that. So, and there is a value on that innovation. And the second thing I would say is that Europe sometimes doesn't have a good reputation, but honestly, they help a lot in that project. Of course, we get some funding from Europe, but also they have experts that help us to identify things that we don't see, because we don't have all the perspective, and it's very useful to help the success of the project. So Europe is a facilitator that is greatly appreciated.
Thank you so much,
Jean-Michel.
It was a pleasure speaking with you. And I think we go back to the conference. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.